Hi everyone, how are you doing? Happy Monday. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. I hope you are doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. I know it's been a lot. It's been a whole lot the last couple of days. But, I'm sure we're all vitamined up and our seatbelts are all buckled in. So we should be doing good. Again, welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, guys. Hello to all my wonderful friends who are in the chat, who are just listening and not in the chat at the moment. Welcome. Haven't chatted with you guys since Friday. It was a busy weekend, and then yesterday I was off on a shoot, and then it's so weird when you do a shoot. It's for some reason that whenever I get home, I get so tired, like I literally crash. I think I fell asleep at 7:30 last night. I was so tired, but I'm happy. It's a wonderful, finally sunny morning in New York. So hopefully it's beautiful where you are. But I would say hello to all my friends in the chat. Lottie is here. Fancy, Desmaps, Rosa. Carolyn, where are you? I know Carolyn is here. There you go. Carolyn, and who else? Black Queen is here. Hello, Black Queen. And who else is here? Lorna from Two Cents Crew. Lorna's here. Who else is here? Annie is here saying hello to everyone. Say hello to Annie. Our awesome moderator Karen is here. Hello, Karen. Let's see who else is here. Carol Rennie is here, and Kenita is here, and Jan is here. Oh, wait, where you are? Jan is here. Hello. Jan says, hi, Pedal and Squatties. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to you, Jan. I thoroughly enjoyed last night's interview, as well as watching Prince Harry on Good Morning America. I'm so proud of him. Jericho Wall is falling. Okay, there, Jan. And awesome moderator Lydia is here, reminding everyone, if you haven't, and if you're new in this space, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. They're all right under the video. So hit the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video. And like and share. Please like us. Like us, please. Chosen to be here this year, and Lucy Wynn. And thank you so much. Oh, Lydia, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. She's like, Pedal, thanks for all the links, access to various interviews. You're the best. Aw, my pleasure. I was just happy to help. Our wonderful squaddies on Twitter provided the links, and I literally just copied and pasted. So to our wonderful squaddies on Twitter who found the links, because I had no idea. Like literally had no clue. And I just copied and pasted and shared it as they shared it with me. So I am grateful for all those squaddies who did the hard work, really. So yeah, but I'm glad it worked. Whichever ones worked, I'm glad they did. And let's say hi to a couple more people before we get in. But what I really let's get back to that. Sonia is here. Hello, Sonia Johnson. And Emma Day and Karen. Hi, Karen Williams. How are you? And Janet Lavallee is here. Al Fernandez. I don't think I've seen you here before. Have you? And I just missed you. I am sorry if I have, but welcome. Alaquinette. Hello. And Sylvia and Brenda. Hi, guys. And we'll say hi to everyone else as we go along. I see you there, Crystal. And Tara. Hello, guys. And Andrea. So anyways, I kind of just wanted to, if you're like me, I don't know, I get overwhelmed quickly. So I feel overwhelmed in a bit. And I was like, maybe I need more vitamins and more seat buckles. But there's been a lot of information along with all the British press. If you've been paying attention to that, I muted all of that because I didn't want to see any more clips or excerpts from the book that is taken out of order and just a mess with the British press. And so I muted. I even had to mute some of our wonderful squaddies who After tomorrow, I will unmute because I just didn't want to see anything. Um, you know, and then we had both two interviews yesterday with I'm sorry, Anthony, with Anderson Cooper and with Tom Bradby, and then we had today with Michael Strahan, and then tomorrow night we're gonna have another interview with him as well. And so it's been a lot of information, so I kind of just want to see what you guys thought. There's, I'll spend most of the time. There are a couple of things that I thought mostly around Princess Diana. That I thought, but I want to get to that after. I just kind of wanted to get a sense of what you thought. And I also put, if you'd like to call in, I'm going to put the link there again in the chat. If you'd like to call in, definitely call in for a couple of minutes and share what you thought of it. That would be great as well. I'd love to hear your voice. So that would be great as well. So yeah, I just really wanted to get your take on what you thought of whichever interviews. I only got some of the transcripts from Tom Bradby. And I think I saw two clips from the Tom Bradby interview, and I'm yet to see the rest of it. And I'm trying to find it, and I don't have it. So if you have seen, if you're one of our UK squaddies and you've seen the whole of Tom Bradby's interview, please share on here for the rest of us who did not get a chance to see it and have only either not seen any of it or only have seen a couple of clips or something. So please feel free to call in, or please feel free to share in the chat, and I'll pull it up, because I'd love to know all of what. Again, I saw like one of she's not a squaddie, I talk about her a lot, but she posted the transcripts, or at least her little snippets of it from the Tom Bradby interview, and that was the interview in the UK. So anything that you thought, good, bad, otherwise, bombshell, not bomb, whatever you think, I'd love to hear your opinion. So I'm just gonna go through the chat and pick, check out your comments. We have somebody calling in. Well, let's see. Hello, Al Fernandez. Hello, Al Fernandez. How are you?
I am well. Can you hear me?
You're very, very low.
Can you hear me now?
Much better. I can hear you much better. So how are you?
I am well. I am in sweet Trinidad and Tobago right now.
You're very low again.
I said I'm in sweet Trinidad and Tobago now, listening to your program.
Hello, my peeps. Welcome. Yes, if you guys didn't hear that, she's from Trinidad and Tobago. So awesome.
I said I'm so proud of you. You do such wonderful work.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. And especially from my own peeps. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
So happy I pulled upon you, and I have to thank Baron for that.
Oh, Barrett is my bro. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so happy that he for his recommend. I appreciate that.
But I have to say, I am so thoroughly impressed with Prince Harry and the man that he has now grown into. I have never really believed a lot of the narratives that was said about him, and even the narrative of his mom's death. And I've watched him, grow up as well. And I am just glad to see now that he's taking control back of his life,
right,
and that his point of view is out there, and everything that he said was true. He needs to have firm documentation of what has transpired in his life, not just for his and Meg's sake, but also for his children, because they are going to grow up one day and be faced with this. And I am just so happy that he pretty much took the bull by its horns and decided, you know what, I'm going to face this head on. No,
Right.
no more running, no more hiding. I am going to do what I have to do for myself, for my wife, and for my children. He truly is a king. I must say that in this realm of life. So that's my 2 cents on it. Of all the interviews, I really loved the GMA interview because
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was more of a conversational interview, and I liked the fact that there was a it was so responsive. He was so clear and open, and it also helped me to understand him a bit more. And I am so very sure that people are going to see this as well, and their perspective, of him, of Meghan, is also going to change. And these
Mm-hmm.
people, they continue to prove him right at every single turn that they take. They continue to they continue to to do things that just speaks to everything that Prince Harry is saying. And I,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us, we don't really, you know, like he's kind of like trying to give us a clue as to the establishment itself. People don't really understand how evil that institution really is and how much control they have over its members. And then you bring the press into that, it's just a complete toxic environment. And I am glad that he made his point clear. He doesn't want an institution, he wants a family. Something
Right.
I believe that he has been denied since his mom's death. If
Mm-hmm.
Diana was alive today, she would have
Right.
been so disappointed in William
Mm-hmm.
and in his actions of how he treated Harry, because even as a kid, she was trying to steer him away from some of his tendencies. Now, without her being there, he has just gone full steam ahead, encouraged by the institution. And
Mm-hmm.
Harry now has to kind of pick up where his mom left off now that he has grown into the man that she knew that he could become. And
Right.
it's really sad to watch, but it's also amazing at the same time.
Right.
Both
Let's
with
see.
together
Oh, so sorry. Go ahead.
could have been such a great team, and now,
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing that everything is divided, and I believe there's a divine purpose in this. I do believe that in some aspects, you know, the Most High wants us to see the truth behind the royal family and that institution, for us to wake up and also for us to take back our power as well, being part of the so-called Commonwealth. So
Wow.
that's what my whole take on the whole situation.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I totally 100% agree with what you said. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Al, for coming on. My
My,
Trini peep.
my dear, when are you coming back?
We'll talk. Send me a comment. Put a comment in the regular comments.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so weird. It's like I wanted to come back in 2020 and then COVID happened. And it was just this weird thing. And it's just like, okay, I gotta replan.
Let me
But
tell
put a comment and I'll respond to you.
Yeah, I lived in the States also, and I came back to Trinidad to take care of my grandmother. And girl, I am loving it. I've had forgotten how beautiful these,
It
these
is.
are.
Well, drop me a comment. I want to get to Miss September that's also on, but drop me a comment
Sure,
and
I
I'll
will.
respond to it. Thank you so much, Al. I
Take care.
appreciate you on.
Bye bye.
Bye. Hang on 1 second. Let's move from stream. Okay, hang on 1 second, guys. Okay, there we go. Hi, Miss September. How are you?
I'm fine, Petal. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's so wonderful to hear people's voices because it's like, oh, that's what she sounds like.
Yeah, I love calling in. Sometimes I don't have anything to say, but yeah, I thought last
You know
night
what? Can
was.
you speak up a little bit
I'm
because you're
sorry.
very low?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're very low.
Let me make sure my sound is up. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay. I thought I thought Harry was kind of smooth. He didn't go like whole hog like people were assuming he was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
I would, I was the part where when he asked him about that Clarkson guy and what he said about his wife and everything like
Which
that.
interview are we talking about?
I'm talking about the was it 60 minutes?
Okay,
Yeah,
with
it
Anderson
was
Cooper.
60
Okay.
minutes. And he just basically said they were proving him right about how they
Mm-hmm.
talk and everything like that. Um, as far as Camilla is concerned, I mean, he could have went really in, but he didn't go as far as I thought he should have. I don't know. He was just like, well, she had a reputation to uphold, and he said something to the fact that her role as the third person in that marriage and everything, his father's other, he didn't have to marry her because she was just, I mean, really, I don't think he should have married her. Frankly, I really don't. But maybe she got something on him. I don't know. Who knows about those people? They got so many skeletons in every corner of every palace that they ever go into. It's just crazy. But Harry just looked very calm,
Mm-hmm.
and he said what he said, and
Yeah.
I saw that stupid Tina Brown this morning on CBS. And she was like, they always come with, show us the proof, show us the proof about this, that, and the other thing. Well, the one proof is that when he gave his father the reasoning for them leaving, it leaked. That was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be private. The thing about the South Africa, that was supposed to be private, but it
Mm-hmm.
it leaked. So what's she talking about? Show us the proof. You haven't showed it. They say that all the time. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about it. Yeah. And then she said something about his drug use, how the palace put out all the fires for him when he was, doing whatever he was doing and whatnot. So he said he's doing some gaslighting of his own. I don't think so, because it was all over the newspaper. Harry's drug shame.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you call that putting out fires, I don't know. You know.
Yeah. The thing about with the royal reporters is like they have they have, I want to think of like deliberate amnesia.
Yes, yes, they really
I'm like,
do.
you don't realize there's something called the internet, right? That
Right.
has like a million receipts on there.
I said all Harry has to do is call the squad and say, "What are your receipts? Give me your
I
receipts,
know
all
it's
your
all over the
screenshots."
internet. That's why Tina Brown wrote the book she wrote. It's like I keep saying this all the time. It's like these people write books with, for some reason, they have zero concept that there's something called Google and Twitter.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, and another thing about the unconscious bias, and I think he was talking on, was it Strahan? I think Strahan
Mm-hmm.
on CB on this Good Morning
ABC this morning,
America
yeah.
about the baby, and he said, I mean, he didn't. He said, what did I say at the Oprah? He wasn't gonna, say who said whatever, but he called it unconscious bias. But I don't think it was, because he could have said, well, I wouldn't ask Kate what color your kid's going to be when they come out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a two-way street right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he gave them a little bit more grace
Mm-hmm.
than he let on, because I guess he's just like, at this point I think they're just tired of the stuff, and then there would have been more stuff for the British press to be on Lorraine and Good Morning Britain to say, about the baby,
Right. Well,
so
they're doing it anyway, so it doesn't
yeah.
matter. I mean, what it does come across, which is what they're talking about now, is
Oh,
that it does come across like they're backpedaling.
yeah, yeah,
And
and
so,
it does come
which,
across as that, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And what is it? I mean, my thing about, racism and what unconscious bias is, his thing is like, well, no, unconscious bias, it's like somebody doesn't realize. I mean, we all have blind spots, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
somebody doesn't realize they're offending someone. But then when you realize, if you decided to, ignore it or minimize it or continue that behavior, then it's racism. No,
right.
it's the same.
Call it what it. I mean, just call it what it
Exactly. It's like,
is.
even, unconscious bias only affects the perpetrator.
Right.
It doesn't affect the
Absolutely.
victim of that. It's like if I accidentally killed someone,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I could say, well, no, it's not murder, it's manslaughter, but that only affects me, the penalty I'm gonna get.
That's
It doesn't
true.
affect the person I murdered.
That's right. And
It
so,
doesn't affect the person I killed or the family and all, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
the unconscious bias is the plausible deniability for the perpetrator of it.
right. You're trying to. It's like it's almost as if he's protecting that person
Exactly.
who
That's
who
their
who,
that's
who
their
said
out.
that.
That's their, well, I wasn't aware. And that happens. I mean,
Yeah,
not everybody is aware. Like, we
yeah.
all have blind spots and things.
Right. I mean, because my husband is white. I've been married for 38 years,
Mm-hmm.
and not one of my family members asked, "What color is the baby going to be?"
Right.
Not one. Not one. And when they saw her, she was just this tan little baby, and that was it. I mean, it was like, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But he's just protecting them. I guess he
Yeah.
just wants to be done with it and through with it,
Mm-hmm.
and but they're never going to leave him alone regardless. And this morning he said, oh, he's Tom Bradby, when he said he was very happy,
Mm-hmm.
I know they're not going to take that very well.
No, well, he even said that. He said
Yeah,
that. Yeah, he said
he's like,
that
they're
some
not going
people
to
are
take
gonna
that.
be angry when he said that he's happy, because
Yeah,
they don't want
because
him to be happy. And
they
even,
want.
yeah, I remember when he said, like, they thought Meghan was gonna leave. There's some parts of
Oh
Harry, I'm like,
yeah,
is Harry sure he's not a squatty, that he's not on Twitter listening and all that
I'm sure he
stuff?
listens, because he said he looks at videos about his mother, because he
Yeah.
didn't cry, but the fact that he thought that maybe she was going undercover
Mm,
and that she would come back eventually. He said he held on to that till he was 23 years old.
yeah.
So he was having some issues, with the fact that she's not really dead. Maybe she's gone
Mm,
MIA. Like some
yeah.
people go undercover and they just go away, like the
Yeah.
witness protection program kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what he was hoping for, but when the fact that she's actually dead, he has come to grips with it.
Right.
It's not easy, but he did. But I thought he presented himself very well.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't stutter.
Right. Yeah.
He said what he said and whatnot. And my
Mm-hmm.
book is not going to come until the 17th. I don't, because Barnes and Noble, I don't know, but I'm going to listen to it on Audible when it comes
Oh,
out
okay.
tomorrow. But I thought it was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
he said what he said, and we have to go with what he said or whatever, because it's his life, and he
Exactly.
and he knows what's going on. Even though Tina said that, they don't believe that he's been in, but he said he hasn't talked to his dad or his brother for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's really awful, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Well, thank you so much,
Okay.
Miss September
Thank
15.
you.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on. Finally, you get to hear the sound of your voice.
No problem. I'll be listening. I'll keep listening in here.
Okay,
Okay. Thank
fantastic.
you
Thank
for
you,
having
thank you,
me.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for calling in. Again, the chat. I'm gonna put the link in the chat again. Paste it in there, and feel free to call in. And I'm gonna jump in the chat for a bit and see what you guys are saying. Terry, I'm starting all the way at the bottom. Terry says, leg. Oh, she's talking to legs. When I saw Gail was sucking up to her, I just changed the channel. I gave her the side eye. Okay, I'm not sure. I know I saw something with Roy, Nika, and Gail, so I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Or someone just mentioned that Tina Brown was on there. And so I'm not sure if that's who you're talking about as well. Let's see. Joyce says the royal family better back off Prince Harry, know where all the bones are buried. And that's the thing. People keep saying that Harry is outing the royal family and whatever. Harry literally has not said one thing that was not already publicly known. There's nothing in the interviews that I've seen so far. There's literally nothing that I've seen that we didn't already know. And that has not been public record already. Him blatantly saying, Camilla is leaking. Yes, okay, that's new for some people. But if you've been anywhere around the royal anything, everybody and their mother knows that. That's been reported long before I became a squatty. I mean, it's just, that's been there. People may not have realized, but when you go back, the British press have been reporting all of that stuff. So there is literally nothing that I've seen that he said that has not been publicly. He has literally not been saying anything again that we didn't already know. It might again be jarring that, he's saying it out loud, but it was already there. And so, I totally agree with you, Joyce, when you said he knows where the bones are buried, because I saw this article, I think it was from the Telegraph, or somebody posted a screenshot and it came across my feed. And it talks about, and it said, those royals, that are not, they are very silent and we're not, they're not leaking anything. Well, the silent royals who are not leaking anything leaked that, I guess courtiers were poring over all the information, I guess the leaked information that they got. And so far, they haven't seen anything bad from Harry because, and if that is to be believed, they know the things that Harry knows, and he hasn't said any of those things, like he said on, I think it was the ABC interview with Michael Strahan, that his book is not about his relationship with William. William happens to be in the story because that he's his brother, but the book is about his life. And, all the others who are names are in it and their experience with him is in it is because they were part of it. They were in some way connected to his life, But again, I don't expect anything that, honestly, that we didn't already know. Let's see. At least for the interviews that I've seen so far, it's like, okay, he's just coming out of his mouth. But other than that, it's, yeah. Lore says, oh, she's talking to Claudia Simmons, and it's stupid of the haters to think that the royal family is not silent. They've been trying to get videos and books ahead of time, and they're turned down. So the royal family being silent is a myth. I don't understand. I am so agreeing with you there, Laura, because I don't understand why that is still believed. And you hear even supposedly credible reporters saying nonsense like that. And it's funny because it's like that, and it's funny because actually Harry, even when Michael Strahan, I said to him, like, well, William can't say, and he can't say anything. And Harry was like, oh, I 100%, I agree with that. And it's just like, there's literally nothing stopping William from doing an interview. There's literally nothing stopping him from writing a book. There's literally nothing stopping him. I know that because Prince Charles did it as the Prince of Wales. He did it till law, when he went out and I'm literally looking at his book with Jonathan Dimbleby. It's literally right in front of me. We know he did the interview, what it was, a year before Princess Diana did her panorama interview. So that is not even true at all in any sense of the word. There's literally nothing stopping Prince William from putting out a statement on the record. Nothing. There's literally nothing stopping his press secretary, Lee Thompson, from going on the record and putting out a statement. Literally nothing. So the idea that Prince William cannot say anything or he cannot go and do an interview is completely false. It is fake. It is false in every sense of the word. And so I just I can't believe people that, and it's funny because I'm watching Prince Harry. I was like, that's not true, Harry. You remember your dad did that? Remember that? I didn't start cheating with Camilla until my marriage was irretrievably broken. Remember that one? And you remember Jonathan Dimbleby's book? So again, there's literally nothing stopping from William from talking. We have two people calling in. We are going to be Fatimata and Karen. So I'm going to go with Fatu first. Hello, Fatu. How are you? Unmute yourself.
Good.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you doing? Well? Fatu?
Good. My internet is not so well, so yes.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. So share with us a couple of minutes. Share with us what your thought, if what interview you saw and what your thought has been.
Well, I want to start with the docu series.
Okay. Okay. So we could do the docu series
Because
and another. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, it's not gonna be long. I just want to say that while I was watching it, I was thinking about Tina and Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
what they used to say, get out there, you can say your side of things. That day I was thinking of them because and the women at Meganpedia, I hope you all still reading the blogs.
Mm-hmm.
um I I was so grateful for that,
Right.
because for me, there are people who never gonna accept their side of things. They will always gonna hate them. They will always not gonna believe them, and they're always gonna be in denial. But
Mm-hmm.
they need to be their side on record. That's what I wanted. It might not
Right.
change the public opinion. It might change, but their side need to be out there. And I love
Right.
that. And with the book, I haven't received mine yet. I ordered audio because I'm outside US right now.
Okay.
I I I think that I'm happy he went. I know he did not reveal all the secret, because if he did, the monarch will be dead today.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy that he shared enough for us to know what's going on.
Right.
I wasn't I wasn't like a fan of the monarchy. I grew up in a French colonized country, so we are like la France, la Révolution Française. We are anti-monarchists, I can say. We
Mm-hmm.
celebrate the French Revolution, so we didn't care about monarchy.
Right.
But I did remember reading about Prince Harry when he started Santa Bali. I thought he was so
Mm.
comfortable, so I did like him, but I didn't care much after, because I was a huge fan of Meghan. When they started dating, I started going back and looking at videos about Prince Harry and stuff like that. He's 1 year older than I am. He's I think
Mm.
yes, he's 1 year older. But when I saw him talk about when he was so comfortable in a field of war, he
Mm.
was more comfortable there than his own house. Oh,
Right.
my my just heartbreak for him that day. The mommy in me
Mm.
wanted just to give him a hug,
Right.
because I was thinking, God, every child deserves a happy childhood. Uh, Imagine wanting to be in war rather be in your rather be in your palace. Imagine
Mm.
that, how awful that must have been. I thought
Right.
I think he was terribly served, because I was thinking of my childhood. I grew up in a small village. There's no running water. There's no electricity. We have to work for every meal we have to eat. But I would not change that for the world, because I always felt the love. I was always happy to come home after school. I was always loved. I always felt my uncle's warmth who raised me. I, I was saying that money is a comfortable thing. It's not the total happiness. It might give
Right.
you comfort, but it's not all of it. And I have worked for people who have a lot of money. Believe you me, they are not all
Right.
happy. So
Right.
uh, I hate when people start talking, oh, they're privileged and stuff like that. I want them to be more privileged. I'll be really happy when they say Harry and Meghan billionaires, because then I will know the security will be taken care of. But
Right. Yeah.
other than that, I want them to be happy. We all cannot be happy all the time. That doesn't mean they're gonna be always joyous and stuff like that. But I still feel bad for him. Imagine
Mm.
having that kind of family,
Mm.
and you still the rational one. He still wants a relationship with his brother and father. I think he's more disappointed in his brother than his father.
Mm.
I still feel bad for him, because I'm sure he would not like this to happen. He's not enjoying the breakup of the family. He
Right.
might enjoy that he's got away, but he's not enjoying the breakup of the family. And
Right. I think.
those
Oh,
people are
sorry.
really cold-hearted. Those people are really cold-hearted.
Yeah.
I still feel bad for him and that, but I think sometimes it's necessary to get away from toxic people. And I hope that one day he can just move on and let it go. They don't need you. You have they don't want you. You have people that love you. I hope one day he can just let that go. I don't want to be, but I still feel bad for him today.
Well, thank you so much, Fatu. Because
And Megan too,
we need to
because
get to
if you follow her from the
others.
beginning.
But oh, I'm so sorry. What were you saying?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so.
Oh, I was just saying that Megan too, because if you followed her in the beginning, she used to have nice things to say about her father. So I feel bad for her too. But
Yeah.
overall, I am very happy. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh,
And
you're
thank you for letting me
welcome. Thank you so
speak.
much for coming on and
Thank
hanging out with us. I appreciate you coming on.
you. Okay.
Thanks, Satu.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Sean, thank you so much. Sean says, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate. Sean says, we didn't know Will attacked him. We didn't know he went through the tunnel a few times. Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. We didn't know Camilla took his room. Actually, we did. I think Katie, what's her name? Katie, I know nothing Nichols put that in one of her books. Actually, she didn't say it was Clarence house. I think she said it was the other house that she mentioned about his room, Camilla turning his room into a bedroom. She put it in one of Katie Nichols put it in one of her books. So that we did. It's so funny. We knew he was attacked. We didn't know, you're right. We didn't know it was William, but there was some hints. We knew that he and William had a huge falling out, and it really was really bad because Robert Lacey put that in his book, but we didn't know the ins and outs of the actual attack. So it was, we did see there are pictures of him with bruises and stuff on his face and also on his hand. So we knew there's something happened. We didn't know it was William. So it's like splinters. So all of a sudden, Robert Lacey's information about their huge blowout that he had with William, and also those pictures. And I remember Tina and Michelle talking about that, and other people talking about them on when Meghan and Harry went on the trip to Morocco. Which sort of gives us a timeline about when that to have happened, because Meghan was out of town when that happened. So we didn't have that full story, but we had pieces of it. But yeah, we didn't know about the tunnel part. So you're so correct in that one. So thank you so much for the correction. I appreciate. Let's see. Karen is on. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hi, Petal. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
So what did you think of the interviews?
Okay, first I'm going to introduce my mom. Mom, say hi to Petal.
Oh, hello, Mom. Hello, Karen, Mom. Hello.
Yeah, she's been with me over the holidays, so she's
okay.
she's quite up to speed with the Sussex squad and Harry and Meghan, and believe me, she just loves him. She just loves him. She, every time she sees him on TV, she says, "Okay, how much he looks like his mom," and she just loves him. And she's listening to all the conversations, and she says, like the last caller that called in, and she says, "Yes, she's right. Yes," she's just giving her nods. She's giving her nods to yourself and everyone, and she is like right up there. And the thing is, I'm glad that she's here with me, because most of my, insights and comments was based on, how she's brought us up, right? So a lot of the stuff that's going on, like the infighting and all that stuff that's going on within this family and the behavior and everything, it's like really appalling. And like she has some jaw dropping open mouth things when she sees and hears what's happening, and is basically the direction that I was going about this whole situation with this whole thing with Meghan and Harry and the family and all that stuff and their treatment and everything.
Right.
And it's just
did you watch any did you see any of the interviews?
The interview. I watched the interview, and like I said before, I'm glad that the book is out. I'm glad he's putting everything out in the book. And the interview, like both interviews I've watched, and I think they were very well made. He
Mhm.
was very well spoken on them. He answered the questions very, truthfully. And you were mentioning about there's nothing stopping William from, doing interviews and stuff.
Mhm.
I tend to disagree with that because yes, there is, things stopping William. The truth is stopping him from doing interviews.
That is a great point.
Exactly.
That is a great point. You are so right.
Because they've done interviews before and it's all lies. Now they have to step up and be accountable for, their part in all this and speak the truth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because
How
he's
is he
never
gonna
done an
do that?
interview where somebody literally asked him, other than stuff that say for one of his
Exactly.
charities. Yeah, he's never been
Yes.
drilled about to speak the truth.
Exactly. Not a truthful interview that he
Yeah,
would have to, if he wants to come back, this is what he would have to do,
right.
And so but I think like he left an open end for them, and he was very soft on them. We're
Yep.
concerned when they were talking about the color of the skin,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that they didn't think it's something racist. But I think he is just letting them down easy with that and leaving it open for them to come back and clear that up, because that is leaving whoever said it an opportunity, okay, to take
Mm-hmm.
accountability for it and to clean it up, and to come clean as to why they made that comment and ask that
Mm-hmm.
question.
Mm-hmm.
So he is putting it forward for that person. He's not saying who it is, but
Mm-hmm.
the person knows who they are, and he kind of left it open for
Right.
them to take accountability for it.
That's a
And
great point. Yeah.
so I didn't like how he phrased it, because it is a racist thing for someone
Mm-hmm.
to, in the context that they ask it, and even for them to be asking that in that family, knowing that this is a biracial person. Like, why would
Mm-hmm.
you ask a question like that? What even if it's a comment you make, why would you make a comment like that?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no calling for it, because you guys are the Commonwealth. You're dealing with people from the
Mm-hmm.
Commonwealth who are biracial. Like, what do you mean what color the baby's skin is going to be? Okay, asking that question in a family like that.
Right.
Plus, half for England is of Black people and mixed people. Like, why would you ask in a day and age where you're saying you're modernizing the monarchy? Why would you ask? Why would you even make a comment on a statement like that, or
Right.
on the color of the child's skin? So it is a racist thing, that came out. But
Yeah.
I like the fact that he is, he's putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
He is speaking truth, and
Mm-hmm.
he's right that there's no way there can be peace without truth.
Yep.
Without, if you can't be silent and expect peace, you can't not speak the truth and expect peace. So
Right.
it has to come out, and that's the only way for him to heal and for them to move on.
Yeah.
I like the part where he explained, how he felt with his mom's death and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very understandable,
Mm-hmm.
because the other thing too, he's talking about, well, he thought his mom just hiding and disappear or whatever. But I mean to say, if you're in a family like that, a lot of disappearing usually happens. So
It's
you know,
say that again. I mean,
sorry.
yeah, I could totally understand why a child would think that, because those kind
Exactly.
of people,
So,
it totally stands the reason you would think that.
exactly.
Even it's
You know,
child's play, it's like, actually,
exactly.
it's not
Exactly.
really child's
So
play, is it?
I'm not going to be naive about that. And, if you're being naive about that, then something wrong. It's not
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
So
Oh, thank you so much, Karen.
you're welcome, sweetie.
And
You
thank you
take
so much,
care.
Karen's mom. Hi. Hugs and
You're welcome.
kisses.
Take care.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you coming on. You have a fantastic day.
She's laughing. Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. She's laughing.
Oh, that's so nice. And I totally agree with Karen there. I love that point. It does stand to reason Harry could think she did disappear because, with that kind of situation, with that kind of family, it just, So, but in reality, child's play, definitely, it's a way, it's a coping mechanism. It's a way for him to be able to cope. And with if he could pretend that she's gonna come back, and his every day is like, okay, maybe today's the day. It is heartbreaking. It is really, really heartbreaking. But I could understand why a child, in that situation would have play those games with themselves. Let's see. Lori says, why aren't the Commonwealth countries in large numbers coming out condemning the royal family? I'm a bit disappointed in the Commonwealth. Harry and Meghan were their president and vice president, right? I would love them to speak up, but then, it's kind of in a situation like, when before these interviews with the, race, the racist element of Archie's skin color and stuff like that, but they're now put in a quandary because it's now being phrased as unconscious bias, meaning that and the way how Harry describes it is like, well, it's unconscious bias, so but if you don't do anything, if you minimize it, or if you perpetuate that behavior, then it's racism. So then it's just like, what are they going to come out and say? You know what I mean? And so I know that it's racism. I know, but it's kind of like, it's a situation where Harry and Meghan need to get more. I mean, they don't have the connect. They haven't made that connection yet. They're both growing in their understanding of racism. Again, Meghan did, as she said, she absolutely admitted that she didn't have, although she's seen it perpetuated against her mother, she had never really had an experience with racism. So this is a new thing, even for her as a Black woman, a woman of color. It is a new thing for her. And so they're learning and trying to understand. So they haven't yet connected how the insidiousness of racism and considered or, connected yet that even when you don't understand, you don't even know what you're doing and saying things and you don't realize it's hurting or damaging someone else. And even though it's an unconscious thing, you actually still doing that thing, and that thing is still racism. It's come out, that a bias is born out of the fact that whatever it is you're doing, either you're belittling, condemning, asking about it, being concerned about the skin color or whatever those things are you're doing, the root of that is racism. And so that connection isn't clear yet for them. And so, I am not going to condemn either one of them. Obviously, I definitely so, but because they're growing in their understanding. I mean, hello, Harry came from, wearing Nazi uniform and think that was totally fine and laughing about it. He came from a background of calling, Pakistani the P word, or, saying in the racially insensitive thing about, this other man that, he doesn't sound Black or something like that. He told this, I think, either musician or, so he's coming from that background. And as he said, like back then he didn't understand, like he totally didn't get it. He even said, like, I didn't even, with the British press, I didn't realize how racist they are. And that is the thing with Harry. Like, he sees the racism in the press, and that is out there in your face. You can't miss it. What he has yet not connected is the racism in his family, because, again, it's so subtle. And right now, it's like, if it's in your face, it's racism. But if it's his family, it's sort of, it's unconscious bias, because it's how they were raised. And it's something that they were all raised that way. And a lot of times, and I see this even with Black Brits as well. It's like, if it's not in your face racism, like, it's in America, then I think it's a culture where they've been so gaslit that it's like, oh, no, it can't be racism because it's not in your face. And so they haven't connected they haven't connected all the dots yet with that. And I totally believe they will get there as they grow and as they talk to more people. I mean, they have a lot of people in their life that in the US that could help them to be able to connect and the dots when it comes to racism in unconscious bias and all of that stuff. But I'm very clear on racism. I make no excuses, family or not, friends or not. I would have people, even people like they don't know my background, and they would say things about, say, Chinese, and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? No, that is racist. You can't, you know what I mean? I don't play with stuff like that. I would not cuddle my own family, and it just, but again, it's like going back, when I think of us as young kids, I remember now, and it's funny with the unconscious bias, because going back, even in my family, they would say, because we have relatives who are Indian, and they would use a name that I didn't know back then was, a derogatory name to refer to our relatives who are Indian. And now looking back, I was like, oh, whoa, that's racist. So I understand not realizing something is offensive, but when you realize, it's like, no, and it's like, okay, no, even though it's my family and even though we were the ones doing it, I mean, it's very prevalent in my country, but it's like you have to look back and see, it's like, okay, no, yeah, even though it was my family, that was racist. That was very racist. Like, we can't coddle because we don't want to offend our family. Even though we want the best for them, we still have to say, no, that is racism, And so that's the thing. And again, I totally believe they will get there. They're just not there yet. And I totally believe in growth. And, at least he's able to connect. Okay, so he figures out unconscious bias. At least he understands that part, but he just needs to make the connection to racism. And, again, with Harry, he has such a soft spot no matter what his family has done, that he just has such a soft spot for his family. It may be a minute before he can actually admit to himself, and even for himself, admit to himself that his take on the Pakistani person and the black person and that, he think of himself like, oh, I had unconscious bias. It's like he has to get to the point where even he have to realize, like, no, what I did was racist. Even, and so there's a lot of, I mean, it'll take them a minute. So I think we need to be patient with them as they learn. And so, but the good thing about it is that they're learning, and that is good. It is really good. And I like this because it's opening up conversations that I think that people weren't having, and people are, through him and saying it out there and putting it out there boldly, it's like, okay, people are talking about it, so that means people will learn along with him. So I just think it's great. I think it's all good. It's all good to see where people are and see, okay, let's see what else you need to learn to grow in these areas. So I think it's all good. Mrs. S says, recently I had someone tell me that we should not get upset when being called the N-word. He said the N-word word means lazy, and all black people are lazy. Oh my goodness. I was so shocked that I could not answer. Oh my goodness. Mrs. S, I am so sorry that you had to hear this. Oh my gosh. And I totally understand. I totally understand your reaction, because I think we all would like to believe in those moments we'll come up with the right words and we would be able to, but in those moments, I totally understand this response, because it's like it almost shocks the words out of your body. Like your brain stops functioning. And I totally, totally understand this, because what do you say when somebody says this? Like the racism is so in your face that it's just like, how do you even form words to respond to this? God, I am so sorry that you face this. This is unbelievable. Oh my God. In the year of our Lord 2023. Oh my Lord. Thank you for sharing, Mrs. S. And again, I am so sorry that you had, yeah, that this was done to you. Oy. Jessica says, I do not differentiate between unconscious bias and racism. Neither do I. Neither do I. I totally agree with you. Lydia, somebody says, very true, Petal. It will come in time. Yeah. And the good thing about it is that they're learning. And and they're going to be mistakes. They're going to say things that is like, what? Like this. But they're learning. And that is all you can ask for somebody. Again, and he admits, I'm like, look, I'm a white privileged guy. I mean, Harry comes from the depth of racism. The fact that he even can admit it right now, about unconscious bias and like literally see it, he sees it clearly in the Daily Mail, and now he just has to see it his own family, But the fact that, and again, he says, before I started dating Meghan, he said he had no idea. It wasn't ever present in his mind. He knew they were nasty, but just didn't realize the racism part of it. And so for him to get from there to where he is now, it's fantastic to see that growth. So, with time he'll grow. And I'm very excited to see in a few years what he would think about this conversation about racism and unconscious bias. I would love to hear what he would, in a few years as he grows and deepen his understanding. I would really love to hear that. Jessica says, 2 weeks ago, I took my granddaughter to the family cemetery and pointed out the graves of 2 of those members who were actually lynched. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That must have been hard, Jessica. I cannot imagine that. I cannot imagine what you went through there. Wow, that is deep. That is very, very deep. Wow. Emma Day says, Angela, I remember seeing the marks on Harry's hand in the car, and the reporter said it was because Meghan held his hand. It's always Meghan's fault, isn't it? It is always Meghan's fault. And it just, unbelievable. And again, it's how they view Black women. We're always the aggressor. We are the ones that would fight and give you, it couldn't be anything else, but who knows, Marilyn says, I am disappointed in Harry's backtracking on racism in his family. Yes, I can understand that. I totally understand that. Because it gives them an out. And as we know, we know the British. We know, especially those in the press, who they very well know what they're doing. They very well know. But what they would do instead, they would, other times they would use I didn't know it was racism. Give me proof that it's racism. And they would do all of this stuff. So what he's done, and what this has done, is basically give them an out. He's given people an out. And so that is the danger of racism, with this unconscious bias and racism. But, yes, there is something as unconscious bias, but it's very important to understand that it is racism, So, and again, it only benefits the perpetrator. The victim of racism, it doesn't matter if the person understood it, knew about it, ever heard the word, whatever it is that they've ever heard about it ever in their life. It's the first time, it's a new teaching. It doesn't matter, because the victim of that suffers the brunt no matter what the thought process of the person perpetrating that behavior is. It doesn't change for the victim. They still feel the brunt of it. And you think in terms of Ngozi Fulani and, with Susan Hussey, she accepts, as she said, she accepts that Susan Hussey, she didn't mean to, and it wasn't intention to hurt her, but it didn't stop Ngozi Fulani from feeling abused, feeling gaslighted, it didn't stop her from feeling traumatized. And so stuff like that, that's why stuff like that is very important. And, I would advise them maybe going forward. I thought it was a great idea when they did the Harry and Meghan documentary to have experts talk about racism. And that was a good thing. That was really, really good. But in terms of this, because again, it feels like backtracking. And I understand if someone feels that way and disappointed. I totally understand that. In his understanding of it, because what it does in, attempt to be like, okay, that in attempt to explain that, what it inadvertently does is people who deliberately, and we know people in the British press that deliberately are racist, will use this as an out, so it's but again, it's a good conversation. At least people are having the conversation. And again, we love Harry and Meghan, will always support them. But with loving someone is also calling out stuff that is like, okay, that's not correct. That's what you do when you love people. You can always correct and, correct thought process or words or whatever. And so, again, they're growing in this area. Let's see. Bonnie says that is that word. Yes, that is exactly the word. I'm not going to repeat it. Is a derogatory word in Jamaican for Indians. Yes, it is. It is. And that is, that is exactly why I didn't say what it was. Yeah. And that is exactly the word that's used in my country. And and it is racist. It is definitely racist, very derogatory, And again, it didn't matter that I didn't realize at the time when it was happening, I didn't, back then I didn't know about, say, racism, more colorism, in the sense of the different shades of you in the Caribbean. It was more about my family, my Black family, because we have varying shades of Black. So that was more the issue there. And in my brain, and even then, like, I didn't have a word for it. I didn't know the word for it. I just knew my sister, who was lighter shaded than I, got the better treatment, and I'm dark skinned. And I was like, I'm going to powder my face, because then in my ignorance, because I thought if I put white powder on my face, then that would make people see me as lighter skinned. Don't ask. I did it, But the way we refer to our relatives, that was racist, so even though it's, again, unconscious, but it's still racism. Let's see. Angela says, Harry and the royal family were in a bubble within a bubble. Only Harry got out. It seems Harry is sharing what he's learned, but the royal family does not want to listen. Harry does not want to give up on them. Very, very, very true. And that's why I always say with Harry and his family, that their relationship, it's complicated. So for me, whatever he decides on his family, I will, respect it, because he loves them. No matter what they have done, all the stuff they have done to him, he loves them. And it's obvious in a lot of ways they don't feel the same way about him. But he is the one that's going to have to get to that point. No amount of people say, Harry, you need to let them go. You need to cut them off. No, his heart can't cut off. His heart is not allowed. He can't cut off from them. He is always going to have hope. The fact that for so many years, he didn't give up hope that his mom was still alive. That's the kind of person he is. He's not going to give up hope on them, even though he had to call them out publicly. He will still have hope that somehow they can work through it. And it's good too that he's realistic that it could happen. I think this is where you get to when you're at the end of your rope, but it's like, okay, I've tried everything else and nothing has worked. Maybe this. Will they listen? Will they want to have a relationship with them? I don't know. The one thing I know about white supremacists, they don't apologize, and they hold a grudge. I don't know that they'll ever want to fully reconcile or ever admit what they've done to him. This is a family of narcissists. And Harry hasn't, he doesn't seem yet that he is, one, able to really process, apart from, say, them leaking on him and all of that stuff, who they really, really, the depths of who they are. And he hasn't been able to connect with that part yet. So I hope for his sake that, miracles can happen, that somehow, somewhere, just for his sake, that they can admit what they've done, take accountability, which is what he asked for, and be reconciled. You always want that with a family. Will this family? They haven't shown any which way that they would ever do that. For them to have any relationship with Harry, they're going to have to ditch the Royal Rota. They're going to have to ditch the British press, cut that off. They're going to have to literally gut the monarchy of the staff that they have there right now. Because the staff that they have there right now, they can't move forward with that staff if they have to have a relationship with Harry and Meghan. One of the things Harry said, just like he believes in the monarchy, but not in the way that it is now. So that is going to include getting rid of that whole culture's got to go. And so it's going to, hey, that whole thing of, press briefings and, you never hear from the press secretary. They have press secretary. There is no reason for there to be any source information, sources say whatever. They have press secretaries, meaning anything that comes out of the palace should be absolute things where it's like, no, our names are put on it. They should be official statements from the palaces. There should, under no circumstance, we be getting, a source said about things, but there's no comment from the palace. That's ridiculous, But then, as Harry said, they fill up a whole column with comments, and then at the bottom, they claim no comment. They have press secretaries for those very reason, to put on record the palace's stand on whatever issue it is. So, they're going to have to completely change the way how the entire culture. And again, that means gutting that thing. But the thing with the palace is a lot of it is government run. A lot of those people are government officials, a lot of Tory people. I don't know how they're going to do that. So it'll be interesting to see. Chosen to be his says, well, that guy in the docuseries said that it's subtle in the UK, but it's still racism. Yeah. Just because you don't use the N-word doesn't mean you're not racist. Exactly. And that's the thing. Even a lot of Black Brits have this mentality, because it's subtle. They will come to it being unconscious bias, but that word racism is really the thing that they can't deal with. They can't deal with it, And it's like, look, people who are attacking Black people, they have no problems. Whether it's subtle or blatantly in your face, they have no problems throwing it at you. Then I have no problems calling it out as what it is. I have no problems calling it what it is. I am not going to sugarcoat for anybody what this is. I don't care what you feel, It's like you can't sugarcoat racism. You can't, sort of coddle it. People die because of that. You just can't do it. Ellen Vernon, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. Ellen says, my question is, was there a conversation that Harry heard and led him to believe his mom might go away? I don't know. Could be. I do know that, the only thing I know about, at least on record, is Princess Diana did say that, she believed Charles would kill her, but I don't think Harry would have known that as a child. So I don't know. Maybe because there was conversation at the time where that Princess Diana wanted to marry Dodi and they wanted to move to California. Could that be it? I don't know. Could it just be a child's using their imagination because it's too hard to accept that mom is gone forever? that is very, as a person who taught kids have those imagination. And I am the same. I am the same with, using, I've never been in that situation as Harry is, but I do understand what it means to use your imagine. My whole childhood was imagining, and I know the power of imagination, and so I don't, who knows? It'll be interesting if he ever one day elaborates on why he chose that. Kathy Gabi says, hello there, Pedal in the Squad. I was still thinking in terms of unconscious bias that is used, maybe so far for Harry, but for a 1,000-year institution that has thrived on subjugation of other. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So he has to really get educated in his family's past, their family's history. So again, him only beginning to understand when Meghan is there, and then the rest of the time is just basically trying to fight for their lives, and then they run away. Maybe hasn't given him enough time to really delve deep into his family. So I hope now that they're in a secure place, that friends or people around them, the people that they surround themselves with, who, for example, what's the guy's name from Color of Change, who he is very much, and also even, the leader of the NAACP and all of those people that they can really help them to understand, deeper, and even the Afua and I think David, I think his name is, who were on their docuseries to help them to really see the depths of their family's connection to racism and what the slave trade is and all of those things, to help them to make the connection, because the connection isn't there right now. Let's see. What did you guys think about, Camilla? They talked about his relationship with Camilla, and Camilla, basically sacrificing him on her altar of trying to, to try to get the press to, rehabilitate her image, and all of that. I'd love to know what you guys thought about that. William, obviously, calling out William blatantly, like, Harry said, it's like William and I had decided, as, when, we would never have our offices, briefing or spreading stuff to the tabloids about each other. And he pointed and said, yes, William broke that. And I'm glad he called it out plainly, that people see, yes, William did break that. Let's see. Joy says, Claudia, you're right. Harry and Meghan gave them a get out of jail card, which is kind of them, although the family shouldn't be given that. Yeah. They, whomever it is that, notice he didn't say that the incident didn't happen. He didn't say it didn't happen. He said it was unconscious bias. So it's almost like a get out of jail free card. Now, admit what you did and change it. Will that person, whomever it is that they just gave that card to, acknowledge it? Most likely not. Again, but we'll see. We will see. Witness says, happy 2023, Pedal and Squatties. People in the Commonwealth are people of color, and to the British royals, they don't see or recognize our humanity. No, they don't. They do not at all recognize our humanity, unfortunately. Let's see. Hi, Olive. Olive wants to know, she's like, hello, Pedal, Squatties and Pedal. Hope everyone is in a pleasant mood. We lit. Thank you, Olive. Yes, I'm in a pleasant mood. I'm sure our Squatties are in a pleasant mood as well. Let's see. Joy says Meghan and Harry never called the skin color of Archie's situation racist. They actually never did. That is very correct. That's very much correct. They never said the person. They just said that the person was concerned. There were concerns there were concerns about Archie's skin color and what that might look like, or something that was the exact. And Oprah was like, "What?" When she was like, "What?" They were concerned, and she's like, "Yes." And so they didn't. We know, looking at that, know what that is, but they literally didn't say that when you look at what they literally said about that situation. So yeah. Let's see. Claudia Sims is saying the same thing. Yep, he gave them a get out of jail free card. But again, will that person, acknowledge that, yes, I was the person, and would that person come clean and, or apologize for what they said? Would they accept it? Interesting. Lorna says, Commonwealth countries are not speaking up because they want an invitation to the Kong show of the coronation. Yeah, we've seen that. They're not going to speak out. They are not. I mean, look at all the stuff that has happened, even around Meghan and Ngozi and so many others, that again, I say this all the time, proximity to royalty is a drug. It is an absolute drug. And a lot of them don't want to lose that. They want to be able to maintain that relationship so they can come to a coronation and hang out with with the royals, even though at times they put you in a bus, but at least you're there, right? Angela says, Adrian, I'll recheck the ones online. I saw pictures of them getting out of a car on arrival, walking to the carpet. I didn't see them all. We'll check the other side. Yeah, there are photos of them in a car, and where, if you're talking about the stuff on his hand, yeah, there's photos of him in a car with bruises and stuff on his hand. So yeah, and if that's where he got all of those, it looked like a much bigger thing. And maybe he is not saying all that happened in there, because those bruises on his hand look like a much bigger thing than him just punching him or pushing him back. So he might have spared, if that's where all of this came from, he might have spared William, again, not saying all that happened. And who knows, they might be holding stuff back. I'm sure they're not going to give out all their cards, holding stuff back to see what the royal family's response is. And if they keep going, expect another book, maybe. Robert Collins, hello. Robert dialing in from Rome. Hello. Robert says, hello, Petal and fellow squaddies, jumping in from Rome, dealing with the Rangers who don't understand the difference between private life and privacy because they don't understand boundary issues. Robert, I totally disagree with you. They perfectly understand boundaries. They understand it in terms of the Queen. They understand it when whenever they talk about the Queen's, when they talked about the Queen's health, they talk about all of those things. They understand perfectly when it has to do with the Queen. They understand it perfectly when it has to do with Kate and William, their privacy with their home. They understand it perfectly when it has to do with King Charles and, when he had COVID and Camilla. They understand it perfectly. They do not respect Meghan, so they don't respect the fact that she deserves privacy. That's a big difference. They perfectly understand it. That's why I just blocked them. It's the same thing they do with, and that's the reason why unconscious bias for me it's a problematic word when you look at it, when you don't define it as racism. It's the same thing they do. It's that, pretend they don't understand what they're doing when they very well understand they're being racist. And they very well understand it. And the thing that will stop all of it is when they start making money and profiting from their racism, and when they start profiting from their, pretending that that they don't understand what privacy is. The reporters in the British press did that all the time. They're still doing it. They're still doing it, pretending they don't understand what privacy is. They've perfectly understood it. I remember, in the middle of this, Mary and Meghan need privacy. They understood it when Prince Philip needed privacy when he was in the hospital. They understand it when Queen does it. They perfectly understand it. They just don't think a Black woman is worthy of privacy. They feel like it is their right and duty to invade her privacy and make her, and they feel like it's their mission in life and their duty to take her narrative and spin it any way they wish. So they perfectly understand it. They perfectly understand it. So I would just borrow it. I would save my, I would just, block and be blessed. That's all I would say on that. Sandy says, Baltimore says he's already, it has a nephew when asked about Archie. He's laying the foundation for a better life for his kids. They're going out into the world, and titles and money cannot protect them. Yeah, Harry, what Harry is doing is he's going to protect Charlotte and Louis, amazingly enough, because him putting it out there so publicly would make those who are doing it think twice at least before they want to do it. Because then they're going to think, oh my gosh, are we going to have another one of these exposing us in front of the world? Because the more they're exposed, that so-called magic that they, lie to the world that they have, and they have royalists being bamboozled, believing that there's some magic about them, that is wearing thin, So it just... I'm telling you, it's just, and again, I agree with her. I mean, he believes in the monarchy, and I think his thing is he believes in what the monarchy can do, and it can be used for good. And that's why he says, as it is, no, it's not as it is. It can't work as it is. He believes, and in a way, I do believe him. Because, in terms of, and I think that's what sold Meghan on the monarchy, it seems, is all the things that her and Harry were planning to do and how they were going to use. Because with the monarchy, you have money, you have power, you have influence, you have all these connections all over the world. Think of how, if you're really using the monarchy for good, think of how many people that can help. If they're really doing it. And it seemed like that is Harry's mindset. And I think that's where Meghan got sold into all of this. When, thinking, look at what they're doing with Archewell. And it's only been, a year and a half since they've really had it up and running. Look at what they're doing with that. So think of, if Archewell had the same, the monarchy has so much more than Archewell. If they were to use that for greatness, how much people that could help. Right now, they're using it to abuse and pretend they're working, which they're not. And so, let's see. April May says, the Rangers tried to downplay and asking about skin color as curiosity, but neglected to add that they said they were concerned about how it looked if the skin was too dark. Yeah, a lot of people, and again, this is when you don't, people pay attention when you say exactly what it is and stop trying to coddle it. Coddle it just confuses. The reason why, I always, in teaching kids, this really helped me a lot. When, I would always have these conversations with parents. It's the reason why you set firm boundaries with things. When I teach a child, when I set a boundary, you do not cross it. And if you cross it, there are consequences to crossing that boundary. And I don't shift from it. And sometimes it can look like, oh, Petal, lighten up. So you said it's so light. And I was like, no, because what that does, it confuses a child. When you say no, and then a child whines and whines and whines, and you say, okay, here. What you're teaching that child is all they have to do is whine and that boundary crumbles. That is confusing to them. They need to understand when I say no, that means no. You can whine for the rest of your life. That boundary stays right there. That tells them, oh, there's a line I cannot cross. And it's the same way here. It's like they're using the same thing. It's like, oh, well, if I continue to say, and continue to leave out that part, then pretty soon it's not going to be racism anymore. It's going to be, oh, I don't know, unconscious bias. And then if I whine and pretend that, then it's going to be watered down to something else. And so that's why I don't play with stuff like that. You know? Let's see. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Tony Racer says, I was disappointed when he said it wasn't racism, but it was. Yeah, it was. And so, again, learning, you know, I definitely, you know, I look forward to see, again, in a couple of years, what he would think of that, you know, when they have learned and deepened their understanding of it, which I'm sure they will. Brenda says, at least Harry is telling the truth on them, but the firm and tabloids were telling lies on Harry and Meghan. Exactly. Exactly. Again, there is nothing stopping William from speaking. He can come and speak anytime he wants. Again, Prince Charles did, even calling out his own parents in Jonathan Dimbleby's book. He talked about, you know, his relationship with Diana and Jonathan Dimbleby's, I think it was for the BBC, a whole interview. Yes, he got beaten and flack for it. Yes. But again, he was the Prince of Wales when he did that. So there is literally nothing stopping William, if Harry is lying on him, to come out and say. There's nothing from him putting an official statement out through his people that, okay, no, I'm, you know. So this idea of, oh, no, William is doing this supposedly dignified silence, while, as Harry's quite correctly said, they are spoon feeding the press and then claiming, oh, yeah, no, but, you know, the palace has no comment. Basically, they're, you know, doing the fake dignified silence nonsense. It's nonsense. And I'm glad Harry pointed it out as such, that, you know, never complain, never explain. It's only a thing. It's not, you know, it's not real. It's not, they don't follow it. Sylvia Dixon says there is a book by a reporter some time ago when Harry and William were in Highgrove, and said that Harry was upset with William for a long time because Harry was blamed for the drug situation. Yeah, there's actually a documentary about that too. I think it's called Reinventing the Royals. I would actually post that. I'll post it in our community page. I've posted it there before, but I'll post it again. I think it's called Reinventing the Royals, where, you know, it talks about all, and I think it was even Robert Jobson was saying even this part where Harry and William would be doing the same thing. They would be in the same mess. It's the same alcohol, the drugs, well, all of that stuff. And Harry would get tagged with it, and William got off scotch-free. So many of the people that were around Harry and William were doing drugs. They were in alcohol, all of that stuff, including Harry. But somehow William was the only one who never was tagged with any of these things. But yet Harry, I mean, Harry's drug shame, the whole bit, you know. Harry, and that was one of the things that really, you know, really started making Harry be like, wait a minute, William, you know, I think it was at Highgrove where they had this, like, they turned the basement. Charles apparently allowed them to turn the basement into a club. And Harry was, I think, 13, 14, whatever. And him and William and all their friends would be there, and they would be drinking and smoking and all of that stuff there. And I'm sure maybe have drugs and all of that stuff there. You never hear William's name in any of these things, but you do hear Harry's. And that is a specific reason, because the palace and the press were protecting William and threw Harry under the bus. The press has known, this has been stories that has been going around forever. So I don't know how anybody can have it, you know, even you thinking logically, to think like, if that is a thing that's been reported and Harry and Harry and William are doing the exact thing, and Harry's getting blamed and William is getting scotch-free, how on earth can you think two brothers with that situation can have a great relationship? I don't know anybody who would feel like I have a great relationship with my brother or sister when we're doing the same thing and I'm the only one blamed. That is impossible. I don't know anybody who would, but somehow magically, people believe that they had this unbroken bond and this nonsense. And only the horrible Meghan came in and destroyed their bond. Unbelievable. Let's see. Oh, wait. John Garcia said, kids and though I just checked again. Amazon said the book will arrive by 11 p.m. tomorrow. Jumping for joy. Yes! I will be reading mine. There will be no podcast, as I said last week. There will be no podcast tomorrow because I am assuming that will be dropping into my mail, into my Kindle and my Audible. I have both. Maybe midnight tonight, or at least after midnight tonight, or whatever time it'll be dropping in. But I will be reading all day. So I'm assuming a lot of us will be reading all day. Adrian said, Angela, the pictures I'm seeing, the bruises are visible. Yeah, if you're looking at the same ones, yeah, they're very visible. And it looks like a lot more than just being punched, because this was on his hand. There are pictures on his face. You can tell something happened to his face. And so he may not have said fully what William has done. And again, Harry has not really revealed any of the inner workings of the royal family, which is, I'm sure, the royal family were scared that he was revealed. He's only revealed his, say, relationship with his father, brother, and, Camilla and all of that stuff. But the inner workings of the royal family, I don't expect him to reveal that. Paul Shaw says federal CBS and the ABC didn't allow the British press to get transcripts of the interview because the British press would have changed his wording around. But American media is smarter than the British press. Yeah, they didn't put out the transcript. I mean, if you ABC and NBC, and I'm going to put it in the links to the show notes, they do have some transcripts online, but that only happened after the interview went up. And also, the royal family, they obviously, as they did with Netflix, remember, Netflix contacted them for comment about, Harry and Meghan docuseries, and they lied, that nobody contacted them, whatever. With this, of course, ABC and the CBS would have contacted them for comment on, some of what Harry said. And they did the same thing that they did with Netflix. They demanded to get a copy of the interview, and both ABC and CBS said, no, that is not our policy. We will not give you a copy. This is a norm. This is a normal response from the royal family. Their lawyers do that every single time. There is an interview, an expose in print. I remember when we were doing the Jersey, we talked about Jersey Island. The reporter who was reporting out of that, when she was looking into the beginnings of that story, she sent a letter to the royal family and their legal team, and they literally asked her for the same thing. They wanted her to send the entire story to them, and they can edit it and send it back to her. And she's like, no, these are the questions I need answered. I am not sending you my article so that you can edit as you wish. No, that's not going to happen. So they did the same thing to her. And I think she's American. They also, I think, did the same thing to ITV. If you remember, we talked about this thing when there was a documentary on ITV where the royal family, their legal team made ITV mute or take out some of what Omid Scobie was talking about. And Omid Scobie was saying that Prince William's team is the one that briefed the press about Harry's, calling Harry mentally fragile. And this was reported in the Sun. It was reported in the Daily Mail when it happened. But somehow when Omid said it on that documentary, all of a sudden, the palace had a problem with it. And then ITV went and muted some of Omid's words so that he doesn't, you will never hear him when he said that it was Prince William's team that did that. And, so ITV allowed them to do it. But American press will never do that. Again, the royal family don't really have that much power in the US. They don't, other than ABC wanting, they scrapping the Epstein thing because they wanted to keep that relationship so they can interview William and Kate. But The normal thing is like, no, we're not going to give you. But every time you see any kind of an expose or an interview like this, that is like a default from Buckingham Palace lawyers. They will always send that and request a copy of whatever it is so they can edit it. And I'm glad people are like, nah, that's not going to happen. Let's see. We're just going to stay in the chat. And again, if you guys want to call in, somebody else want to call in, please do. Maybe I'll just put the link here again. We paste. Yep. Put the link here again. If you want to call in, that would be nice for us to hear your voice. Thank you to all our wonderful squaddies who called in and chatted and shared their opinions about what it is. Were you guys surprised that he called out Camilla so publicly and so like, you know? And it's so funny because I remember when the tabloids started saying that Harry's good, you know, he better not write stuff about Camilla. He better. And I remember thinking at the time, like, well, that's weird. Why would he be writing about Camilla? Like, it literally made no sense to me. You know, like I knew, you know, it's like, you know, and like, okay, yeah, she was leaking on Princess Diana and all of us. But when I was thinking of, you know, in terms of what Harry said he was writing, Camilla was so far from my mind that it was just like, huh? Why would he be talking about Camilla of all people? You know what I mean? So now I understand it because they know what Camilla has done. And it's just like, wow, he just literally, I mean, Camilla has spent years since Princess Diana time. She has spent years cultivating relationships with the tabloids and leaking damaging information about Princess Diana, you know? And all these years since with the marriage and all of those things, Mark Bolan and all of them working on her, you know, to just, you know, refine her image and all of that stuff. And then here comes Harry like, no. You've been leaking. You've been sacrificing me to boost your image. That is not okay. You need to stop. And it's just like, whoa, that just like, talk about sunk there. But, oh, TCC Sun. Oh, hello, TCC Sun. How are you?
Hello, how are you today? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. If you might want to do a little bit louder, if that's possible.
Oh,
Just make
okay.
sure
Sorry
everybody
about
can
that.
hear you.
Let me turn that up. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I had how are you, Petal? I'm sorry. I'm just coming in.
Good. I'm doing good. I'm so glad I could hear your voice. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm actually at work, but I went on a break.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I did have the pleasure of watching CNN as well as ITV, X, and the one in the British media was like 90 minutes. It was really, really long. And I really did enjoy that. I did see the difference between the interviewers without a doubt. But I do feel as though, as they say in British media, the bombshells, I guess you would say, were with Tom. And then he just kind of elaborated more and more and more. To me, he was relaxed with Tom. But when he started talking to Anderson and Michael, it was like he was at home. You know what I mean? So to me with Tom, he was relaxed. You know, I'm doing my thing. I'm explaining my side. But then with, you know, Anderson and Michael, he was like, I'm at home and I just ask me whatever you want to ask me. You know, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In reference to that unconscious bias, I must say, I do understand how some people are upset or irritated in reference to unbiased versus racism. But there is still a limit somewhere along the line. It's still his family. No matter how you put it, how you like it, you know, let's be realistic, you know, for anyone that has family members and have lost family members, especially if you have lost family members, the last thing you want to do is go in there and try to blow up a household.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for some people to think that he was just going to take the monarchy down, to me is extremely unrealistic because You know what I mean? These
Mm-hmm.
each individual people and each individual person and each individual is complex.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are going to be able to say, I see it, I'm going to address it. And some people are going to say, especially that older generation. Let me say it again for those in the back. The older generation, they know what they know, what they know. And
Mm-hmm.
that saying, teach an old dog a new trick. That's a reason for that because it's hard to treat to teach an old
Mm-hmm.
dog a new trick. So if you are over 60 and over 70, you know what you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you know. Is it right? No, but you know what you know. So
Mm-hmm.
just like he was raised in that environment, so was King Charles. He
Yeah.
was raised in that environment. And some people keep saying, well, Charles is supposed to modernize the monarchy. Charles was going to modernize the monarchy per his youth.
Right, exactly.
Per his youth. Not during his youth, there was no social media. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So there was no technology except for TV and radio. So now trying to modernize it now is a whole different element. So all
Mm-hmm.
you can do, not making no excuses for them because trust and believe they are we know who they are, but Harry doing what Harry is doing, I appreciate him so much
Right.
because he put it out there. He's telling you who's doing what. He's
Mm-hmm.
explaining to you how anywhere else in the United States, I know different countries, but here in the United States, the communications secretary said, you see what I'm saying? You're taking
Mm-hmm.
responsibility for the words that's coming out of your mouth. Just like
Mm-hmm.
Harry said, that part, he's been here long enough. He's starting to get a little bit Americanized, which may cause a problem for them. But like he said, the words I'm telling you out of my mouth. So he's
Mm-hmm.
letting you know I'm not trying to hide.
Right.
I'm not trying to hide. And even if I say it and you don't like what I'm saying, it still came directly out of my mouth. It's not,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
not going to have over 74,000 papers trying to figure out what I was trying to say.
Right.
I
Yeah.
said what I said. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes some people, and I do, everybody's got their own perspective, and I really do try to be kind of diplomatic within reason. But sometimes you do got to understand that before he released that book, he done went through all kinds of training. He was careful
Mm-hmm.
about the words that's coming out of his mouth because what he don't want to do is be sitting up there in a court of law and someone's trying to cause problems for him. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to be very careful. And some people just want you to go in there, burn it, tear it down, but you're not the one who has to deal with the consequences.
Right.
You're not the one. So you
Yeah.
have to, if you are really their faves, even if you don't agree with it, then you gotta sometimes understand why it was said the way that it was said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Is that making sense?
It does. It absolutely does. It
Mm-hmm.
absolutely does. I mean, again, the thing that I'm always trying to understand, and really with Harry and Meghan, because I know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, even like when they went back to for the Jubilee, there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things, even in the squad, people were really upset that they went.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I
They
did a
would,
whole
yeah.
podcast about
Mm-hmm.
family dynamics is not easy. And it's
Exactly.
like you're trying to navigate that in terms like these are people I love, but yet these are the
Mm-hmm.
same people that abuse me. Yet,
Exactly.
especially in terms of the queen, she's the head of a monarchy, and this monarchy is a
Mm-hmm.
racist institution,
Yes.
but that's
Yes.
still my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it
See,
is
no matter
so
what. Yes.
many like aspects of it. So for me, I just felt compassion because I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't want to be in that situation.
No, I mean, I could see it just being uncomfortable. And now
So
I just know
uncomfortable.
there's a couple of my grandmother who I adored. I love the ground she walked on and the air she breathed. You hear me? And she could cook and she took care of me and I loved her. But baby, she had some racist moments and she was a colorism person. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But I loved her so much. And even when my children were born light skin versus brown skin, she was trying to show favoritism. Oh, not over here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I already knew that was a part of her, but I couldn't stop loving her because
Mhm.
the reason why I loved her was just how she loved me back. But she
Right.
was still who she was. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Did you ever try to correct her in that? Like, what was that
Oh,
like by
yeah,
pointing?
yeah, I would say 1 or 2 things, but I had to deal with the punishment of that. You know, our skin is brown. So,
Mhm.
I'm from that school, children are seen and not heard. So,
Mhm.
even though I was a young adult and married, as far as she was concerned, I was still a child, even if I was
Mhm.
having children. So, when I did see that she was showing one, better or treating one better than the other, I was like, "No, no, 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 grandma, no, 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 what's going on?" And she'll be
Mhm.
like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I said, "No, you can't do this. You can't." One time I actually picked up my children, walked out her house, and didn't go back for
Mm.
6 months. You know what I mean? But
Right.
did she apologize? Oh, no,
No.
she
Yeah.
didn't. No,
Yeah.
no, she did not. Because you know what? Just like those young people who in their 30s, 20s, and 30s, we say, I'm a grown blank, blank person. You know what I mean? So that's the
Mhm.
way she felt as well.
Right.
So there's just some things that, even though he is speaking out, but in actuality, he's giving his opinion. If they want to change, they will. But if they
Right.
do not want to change, they will
Won't.
not,
Exactly.
and he's either going to have to say, you know what? That's my dad. That's my stepmom. That's my brother. That's my sister. That's who they are.
Right. Yeah.
That's who they are. But what I do like about him is that, okay, I'm putting this out because, see, I need y'all British media to back off. And I
Mhm.
also need to let you know that the words that they're putting is actually coming from my family. So that
Right.
to me was that
Yeah.
European bombshell that he put
Mhm.
out there. I'm telling you where it's coming
Oh, I
from.
love that. I love when he
Okay?
said, those sources. No, that's from the palace. I love that he
Exactly.
said that.
That's the
Yes.
bombshell. He's letting you know straight up. Now,
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he didn't say this, that, and the other." He told you more than anybody else has ever told you.
So yeah, yeah, absolutely,
And he
absolutely.
told you, okay, yeah, we already knew about incandescent, okay? We knew
Right.
about Katie Haiti. We did. We already knew about taking that bags of money. We knew that, and we knew about the side piece. But did we know how dangerous that side piece was?
Mhm.
Until we actually saw those pictures of some of the most vile men, and she's having dinner or lunch or breakfast with these people and smiling,
Right.
so now he's telling you what's going on. Don't be
Right.
greedy. Just take what he's giving and pay attention. So when they start putting all this stuff in there, and everybody knows that there are certain reporters that are attached to certain people in certain palaces.
Right.
So you
So
just call them out.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, TCC Sun.
Thank
I
you so much. Thank
appreciate
you for
you
hearing
coming
me out,
on.
guys.
Thank
Appreciate it. I
you.
gotta go back to work. See what you did to my
Oh my
family.
gosh. Yes, yes, yes. Have a fantastic day at
Thank you
work.
so much, guys. I have a good one, okay?
You too, my love. Okay, bye-bye. Let's see. Hang on. There we go. Okay, legs. A couple more before we end. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was like an hour and something already. Lex says, thank you so much, Lex, for your donation. I appreciate. Lex says, does anyone else notice how the British media are trying to push this hypocrite narrative for Harry and Meghan? For privacy, now racism, yet they leave out the vital info. Well, yes, of course. Of course, of course, of course. They will try. I mean, again, Harry is coming for their job. Harry is, because again, what he's trying to do is cut out the middleman, and they are the middleman between the palace and the people. And Harry is trying to cut out the middleman. And so don't be surprised at anything the British press throws. And Harry, with the unconscious bias, just kind of like, that sort of gave them some, unfortunately, that's just where it is. And they're gonna keep feeding on that for a while. So yeah. Let's see. Florence says the award they received from JFK was Human Rights Award for their activism in racial justice and mental health, but it has been changed into something else. Take note of this. Explain a little bit more, Florence, if you can, so that we understand fully what you mean. So yeah, if you can just elaborate a little bit, that would be fantastic. But thank you so much. Angela says Harry is learning about racism. He has a taste of it being married to Meghan, but he'll never have the impact that racism has on Meghan. You have to feel it, not just see it effect of racism. And absolutely understand this. Yep, absolutely. And again, it's been 3-4 years, whatever, but most of that time is been trying to basically fight for their lives. And so there's definitely need to be more lessons and more, understanding about the nuances of it. And again, as Meghan says, she had never experienced it herself. In terms of really getting the full blast of it coming directed at her until she was there in the UK. So she's also learning. And so about it. So as two people learning, don't be surprised if they don't, it'll take them a minute to learn and really get into. So that's why I'm not, even though I can call it out because I can see what it is, I'm not upset at it, or I'm not, I'm not phased by it, because I could see what it is. It's two people trying to figure out, and they're basically just telling you, this is where I am with it right now. This is what I'm seeing, and this is how I see it, And so then you can look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is what you got right. This is what you did. Now that's, you need to more education in this department. So yeah. And again, it's all learning. So they will learn more as the time goes on. We just have to have a little bit patience with them. Hi all. Hi John Newbold. He's like, hi all. 2.5 million books of spare ordered for North America alone. The Daily Mail says they needed 1.7 million to break even. I reckon that there will be about 3 to 4 million and rising. No problem. Well, I think all of that leaking and all of that, twisting everything Harry said in spare, was so that way, people will get so sick of it and they wouldn't buy it. And except the reverse of that happened by leaking and leaking and leaking. People got more interested in it. So there you go. Thank you, Daily Fail. Once again, they have not learned that lesson. Going crazy about anything Harry and Meghan does is not going to go the way you do. Whenever you do that, you're just hyping it, and so people will get more interesting. So yeah. Kids Indoor says, hello everyone, what happened at The View? I have no idea. I have not seen The View, so I don't know. Let's see. If anybody knows what happened at The View, maybe you can share. I don't know. I didn't know. I see Al is also saying, I was surprised by them, The View, the women too, Marjorie. I don't know what happened at The View. So if someone, I'm going to go down at the bottom so I see someone could elaborate. Yeah. Dolores says the royal family really don't associate with people outside the family unless it's for on the line of business. They're like a cult. They really don't. I mean, I'm sure, I'm assuming they have friends that, maybe we don't know about. I know Meghan does, but, people that they grew up with, whatever, that may not be public knowledge, but yeah, who knows? Do they behave like a cult? Sure. They sure do. Let's see. I'm gonna go down. So if somebody explained about The View, I haven't seen The View. I think The View came on. I think isn't it on like later in the morning? So maybe I was on here while it was going on. I don't know. I've seen The View. Let's see. Sylvia said, Petal, it was the chat, the color of RGB comment, why a lot of the screaming went on when Harry went back for the grandfather's funeral. The family went after him because they were called racist. Okay, is that in the book? It was a, what color? The family went after him because they were called racist. Okay. Okay, I'm assuming is that what I mean. I don't have the book, so I don't know. So you can let me know if that's why. Let's see. Irene says he's doing damage limitation. He knows exactly what it is, but it's incendiary topic. One it doesn't want to talk about. The optics is already out there with the royal family. He didn't want to add to it. Well, unfortunately, by doing this, it just kind of add to it. And so it's, again, confusing. And so that's where, yeah. John Garcia says, Roker on NBC today, back from illness, bashed Harry, saying he should have waited until the royal family settled their differences before writing a book. Say what? Everyone has their opinion. Again, NBC wasn't given an interview, so to expect that. Notice when a network don't have an interview, how they're, yeah, how it changes. So yeah. Oh, Anne is here. Hello, Anne. Oh, she was here. I don't know if she's still here. I didn't even see this. 12:30. Somehow I missed this. She says, I think Harry believes his family will change, but the crown literally cannot exist without inequality. Harry and Meghan are doing service without taxpayer funding. What's the point of the monarchy? Exactly. Again, my thing is, if you want a monarchy, you want to go kinging and queening, do it on your own dime. And for me, that's fine. If you want to do it on your own dime, perfect. But yeah. Let's see. Thank you so much, Anne. I'm not sure if you're still here in the chat, but thank you, definitely. Let's see. Mackenzie says, LOL, still exhausted from arguing with fellow Black women about Meghan's lack of visual Black friends. Now this biased comment will need, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a drink. Yeah. So expect, because a lot of people are on edge, especially, Meghan had said that, she never has experienced racism. So there's a lot of things there. And so a lot of people will have their backup with a lot of things. Don't be surprised at all the things that will come out of this. So yeah. And I think this whole thing with, again, with Harry, I think it's one of those things when you take a stand on something, you don't back down on it, because again, it brings confusion and people, they get upset. You take a stand, you stay with that stand. And so, Jessica says, poor Al Roker, he's so fearful for his job. He volunteered to do a weather report out in a very dangerous hurricane. If yeah, he did. That was very unnecessary, but he did. I guess he probably still wanted to I guess he just wanted to feel like he could do his job. So yeah. But again, don't be surprised at some of this stuff. Some people are very much into, let's keep family secrets. Let's keep the family secrets. Don't say it. Michelle Obama pretty much said, her attitude was pretty much the same. Family is important and whatever. Some people are like that. No matter what happens, we keep it in the family. And it's like, yeah, well, that family is abusive. No, we keep it in the family. Some people are like that because they grew up with this idea of, you know, the two-parent home and all of that stuff. And, you know, and they don't relate to abusive, narcissistic society. They just don't relate. And for me, those people need to stay quiet and, you know, eat their food and let people who've actually experienced those things talk about it, because their, you know, their impression or their view of family relationship is not what a lot of people are. I mean, you're thinking, you know, again, you say, go back to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama grew up in a wonderful two-family home. I mean, when you read her book with her dad and her mom, she wouldn't understand the kind of dysfunction in the royal family. At least she could hear it, but not really understand it, because that's not her experience. So in situations like that, you know, people who've had that, you know, wonderful family life, you know, they don't understand someone growing up in a really hard family situation. So that's when they, you know, stay quiet and let other people who've been in those situations speak up, because they can add from their experience. Joy says that's why NBC didn't get an interview with Harry. The waffling that they do snout Harry and Meghan, for me, is an issue. I really didn't understand what Aroka was saying this morning. Again, you know, when you have a wonderful family and a wonderful family dynamic, it is hard sometimes to put yourself in other people's positions and understand, you know, yeah. And again, NBC, I'm amazed he did it with ABC, and, you know, they had, you know, sort of a positive view of things. But NBC and ABC as well, they have a vested interest in the royal family. Anything, because they make money selling royalty. Again, I say this over and over, don't be surprised that they, you know, anything that gets in the way, you know. So, let's see, a couple more before we end. Let's see. Let's see. Bertha says, people, we must respect that I was treated badly in my family. I didn't speak to my mom and some of my siblings for years, but it happened. Please, let's respect him for wanting to have a relationship. Yes, I totally agree with this. I totally agree. You know, we're all in different places. We all feel differently about different things. We are different people. And while somebody would run away and never speak to their family again, he is not that way. And we have to respect where he is, and respect him still wanting to have a relationship with them. You know, even if it seems crazy, and even if it's like, it looks like, oh my gosh, Harry, they're never, but that's him. And so it's kind of like you either love him or you just leave, you know, leave him. So yeah. Catherine says Harry has hope for his family, but will risk losing Meghan and the children. But will he risk losing Meghan and the children when a woman gets fed up? I think, you know, I think one of the things I remember with Meghan, even in the interview she did, I think it was with the cut, when she said, you know, was it that or the other variety? One of them, she said, you know, I lost my father in this, but Harry doesn't have to lose his father. It's his decision. So from that comment, it feels to me like Meghan is, because she knows the horror of, you know, I mean, she was a daddy's girl, of losing her father and losing her family, her, you know, at least the white side of her family, even though they were so horrible. We can see in her love for Ashley that there is love there. And you know, and even though her dad was so horrible to her, I can guarantee you there is still love for Meghan. Yeah, she had to put up a boundary to protect herself and her family, but I guarantee you she still loves her father, you know? And so, yeah, family, it's complicated with those relationships. It's very, very, very complicated with that. Let's see. Let's do one more before we end. Jessica says nothing short of a miracle can change the royal family, and BP has to be dissolved, and that is just not going to happen. Look, there is a Lord, and He's about miracles. So I guess Harry better be praying. There's nothing is impossible. Literally nothing is impossible if they put their mind to it. There are things that they can do today to start changing if they want to. Will they? Who knows? But Harry has put it all out there. However it is, it's received. He's put it all out there. He's like, look, it's out there. Judge me, whatever you need to do. My life is out there. So I'm sure he knows that he would get pushback. I'm sure he knows that there were people that will not agree with the way he did things. I'm sure he's well aware that that was going to happen when he decided to write a book like this. But you know what? It's all out there now. And, he put it out there and let the chips fall where they might. Like he said, he didn't see how anything would change with being silent. Nothing was going to change with him being silent. It's probably going to get worse because that's what abusers love. They love silence, And so and again, what he did is uncomfortable. A lot of people, especially the older generation, they don't like that kind of discomfort. They like settled life. They like things to be smooth. And so this is an upheaval for every single one of them. And everybody who's been comfortable in their racism and comfortable in, just allowing this abuse from the royal family, this is going to upset. And I'm sure he knew that. So I'm sure he's, mentally prepared to, to go through whatever comes out of it. But at least it's out there. The truth is out there. His story is out there. And people can't say they didn't know, So I applaud him for that. And so thank you guys so much for sharing. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of the comments. Thank you so much for our wonderful squatties who came on. I'll share what I think another day. I am so glad to be able to go through and see and hear your opinions and what you think. So thank you guys so much for joining me, all 681 of you. Thank you. Let's see. I'm gonna hang on. Oh, hang on. I didn't even get to use that. That's Princess. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should just no, actually next time. But anyway, thank you so much to our awesome moderators, Church Nelly, Lydia, Karen. Wait a minute, did I see Church Nelly today? I didn't think I saw Church Nelly today. Church Nelly, were you here? Did I miss you somehow? But anyway, Lydia, Church Nelly, Karen, and Cookies and Cream, thank you guys so much for your awesome work in keeping our space safe. Again, thank you to our wonderful squatties who came on. And thank you to our 2 Cents crew members who support the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you so much for your support. And all of my friends who donated here as, whether it's a donation, Cash App, super thanks, super chat, super stickers, and PayPal, Cash App, merchandise, however it is you support the channel. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you guys so much for, again, hanging out with me, spending the afternoon, whether you're at work or not, to make sure to chat about this. Again, there won't be none tomorrow. I'm going to be reading. I'm sure you will be reading as well. And I will catch up with you all on Wednesday. So I love you all. Have a great day. And I will talk to you Wednesday. Bye.